Soon after the work people had returned from breakfast and resumed their business, one of the beams in the lowest story of the building broke with a tremendous crash, and the arch of the floor giving way fell with such fatal force as to carry with it the same quantity of the other floors, from the top to the bottom of the building, burying those on the ground floor under the accumulated weight of an immense mass of iron beams, machinery and brickwork. The horror excited in the neighbourhood is impossible to describe. A mighty rush took place from the factory, and the welcome exclamation of, "I am here and safe," sounding from a vast number of tongues, served to mingle joy with grief, and produce a scene of mixed emotions scarcely to be conceived. But now all became gloom. Many ears were doomed never to hear the spirit-reviving sound of safety and security. The moans of the dying and the cries of the maimed, some of them interred to the middle, others to the neck, in the massive materials by which they were held, yet nerved the arms of the gallant men who rushed to the scene of desolation, and were employed, at hazard of their own lives, in removing machinery and materials which formed a pile higher than the ceiling of the first floor, under which a number of bodies, how many it was then impossible to say, were buried. The whole disaster is only the work of a moment, and yet a young man working at his lathe in the 5th floor from the ground almost miraculously escaped the fate with which he was threatened by springing on the ledge of the window and remaining in that situation in a state of horror and alarm amounting almost to insensibility, while he viewed the ruin that surrounded him and the gulf which opened beneath his feet and swallowed up his less fortunate companions. Bodies were deposited in a shed in the rear of the building, and during the whole of the afternoon, parents and connections of the deceased were passing in succession into this charnel house to identify their relatives, which, in many cases, could only be done by their dress, their countenance being too much disfigured by their bruises and sufferings to have left any traces of their original form. A more heart-rending scene we never witnessed. It was a day of horrors never to be forgotten in the neighbourhood.